All right, we're live. Hey guys, how you doing? It's the Honeydew Carpenter and the always beautiful Mrs. Honeydew Carpenter. And this is our Saturday morning live show. I wanted to do something for you guys today that would really maybe change the game and get some momentum going for us as a community and as a group. I really appreciate. We usually have about, I don't know, 100, 150 people that just religiously get on for our live shows, and we really, really, really appreciate that. At the um, at the end of this video, because it's live, we can't say click the link below because there is no link yet. We have to insert the links. But at the end of the video, I'm going to insert a link after the video is up that'll allow you guys to go and click on that link. And as a group and as a community, we can do something together. I've been doing something for the past 7 days, and the results have just been absolutely incredible. It's a 30-day challenge. It's a journaling challenge where you just take 2 minutes a day for 30 days, and they have series of ways to take you through your thinking, and you just write down your thoughts and whatnot and set your intentions, and it just compounds on itself. The results are absolutely incredible. And the reason I came up with this, guys, is because I was getting stumped. You know, as this past week, as I go through, as I'm writing the book, um, excuse me, as I go through and I'm writing the book, I'll get to a certain point, and it'll just seem like there's something missing. I go through all the sheet metal process, and that's easy because we all understand that there is order in physical things. Things we can see, things we can touch, things we can watch go together. It's like a house going together, and we totally understand it. Guess what? In the order of things, the guy doing the groundwork has to come in first and dig it out. Then the foundation crew can come in. The foundation crew can't come in before that. And then the framers, and then the exterior and the sheetrockers. But guess what? If you put the sheetrock up before you have a chance to have the electrical guys come in and run the electrical through the wall, you've just ruined yourself. And so that's an analogy and something that we can all understand, that there's an order to things. As I go through and I do the, our end goal is, at least for this light and portable rocket mass heating system and the instructional manual and booklet that I'm writing on it, is to build something like that. And in order for me to do it, you kind of have to know where to start and what the foundation is and what to build around. And, that's the alumina cement core of the whole unit, which we have already put out those chapters on how to build that. And we have to take each component of that big thing and break it down and show you how to lay it down and bend it up. And there is a step-by-step system that goes along with this. And everybody kind of gets that, and they can understand that. And so when I got to the point where you were pouring the aircrete in and filling it up and then creating the riser and putting the riser, and there was different steps to the aircrete portion of it, I literally got stumped, and I went back, and through this process, just the first 7 days of this 30-day challenge of taking 2 minutes a day and journaling and writing down my thoughts, I just kind of had an aha moment that, and when I was one of the things I did was I went back and I read a ton of comments on a ton of my videos when I first got started of making aircrete, and what people were asking, oh, why are you putting that in? What are you doing this for? And I just understood there's a lot of misconceptions about aircrete and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that I never took people through the process mentally, step by step. And I realized that for them to be effective and them to take my ideas and put their own ideas to it and build on them and maybe come up with some ideas of their own and improve the aircrete product, they would really have to understand the whole philosophy behind my thinking and behind how I came up with the mix designs and what each element of it is for. And you really have to get down to the basics. See, I spent years in an engineering firm doing all kinds of different materials tests on all kinds of different mix designs. And so I have this base fundamental foundation of how Portland cement behaves. And when you put a certain thing in it, how that changes the behavior. And so I'll give you an example. Most people were under the misconception, they were thinking that I was putting perlite in the mix as a strengthening agent. And I actually went back through some of my videos and I said it was a strengthening agent to a certain extent, and I understand the misconception, but they were thinking it was like an aggregate or a rock. And that's a complete misunderstanding, because what happens with the perlite, if you notice, I wet it first and then I put it in. I just want thousands of little particles in the cement block with moisture in them, so that because I know how Portland cement's going to behave. It is going to dispel and get rid of all the moisture in it really quickly. But the more moist you keep it for the longer during the curing process, the stronger it's going to eventually end up being. And so the perlite ends up being an internal curing agent to help it cure harder, not necessarily to act as some type of a structural thing. And so I just came up with this system, and I hope it's going to work. I want to do something that'll just kind of take people back to basics. Because there's really, when I was going through all the comments, there's really about 12 areas of misconception of it. And I just did one. I don't have time today to do all 12, but I want to take some of my older videos, reframe them, say, in this video are 2 or 3 of these main concepts about Portland cement that you really have to understand what it's doing to the aircrete. And that way, when you guys go through the book, the manual, and I'm changing the mix designs between the riser and between what goes around the deal, between what it is to make a wall panel versus something that you want to take a lot of heat, and you'll understand why those things are in, what the philosophy is, and then from that area you guys can just build on my ideas with your own ideas for different uses for it. And so hold on, I'm going to check my notes real quick. Why don't you check some comments and we'll go from there.
William Craig says, hi all. Well, good morning, and hi, William. Gail Snyderman says, morning, my buds. Good morning, Gail. Terry Oak says, good morning from Alaska. Wow.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Terry, how's it going in Alaska? Alan Ingalls says, morning, all. DT says, good morning from New Jersey. That's so cool. Seek to Find says, Kelly here. Hi from Alberta.
Awesome, Kelly.
And still waiting for my phone-mate to arrive from the USA. It's coming.
It's coming. Sometimes on international shipping, I'll send it with a 2 to 3 day shipping label, but all that our post office is guaranteeing is they will get it to the port on the ship in 2 to 3 days. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer during the international stuff. But.
Mitch Anthony says, good morning from BC. More snow here.
Awesome.
Yeah, we have gotten some more snow here too. It's been kind of a cool winter. And our boys have been having so much fun sledding and building a fort in the backyard. It's awesome. Bill says, good morning from Lake. I have no idea how to say that. Ronkonkoma, New York. Beaver Creek Farm Life. He put our email, honeydewcarpenter1@gmail.com. So if you guys have a question, you can email us. He also put our Teespring account up there. You guys can go buy a coffee mug or a t-shirt with the Honeydew Carpenter logo on it. He put our Etsy link up there, so if you guys are wanting to, you can click that link and go buy a foam mate. And he put our web address up there for our website at www.honeydewcarpentershop.com. Thank you, Beaver Creek Farm Life, for all you do. Romner says, good morning from Minnesota.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, there's one thing, guys, I just want to kind of give you another analogy, and one thing I wanted to say, especially about the link that's going to be down below that you guys can click on and join me in this 30-day challenge of journaling, just taking 2 minutes a day. It's free. All you need is a pencil and a pad of paper and 2 minutes a day, and it'll be awesome. But yeah. No, I don't think my concussion is messing me up, but I just wanted to say why I think it's important that we all do this. It's because if you take like the analogy of the huge farm gate, you know, that's like 25 feet wide for this big entryway into a ranch or whatever. The little bit of movement that it makes at the apex or at the hinge has a huge, tremendous effect on the outside end of it. And these little things that we can do for just 2 minutes every day, that over time compounded, are going to have a huge effect on us in the perimeters. And so, if you think about the physical things in the world versus things that are more opaque and more hidden, I was thinking a lot about that because when I started this journey and it got started going down the Aircrete path, I say to myself, I'm like, why me? You know, why Aircrete? Why all of these things? And I have to go back to the first video when I was building the foam mate on my bench, and Mrs. Honeydew was filming it, and I was just trying to create a tool that would help me solve a problem to build a stove. And I think about the series of steps that have got us to where we are right now, and it can be very confusing. I mean, it's confusing for the time even talking about it, but it's kind of like theology. If I say, hey, look over there, do you see that tree? You can look and you can say, yeah, I see the tree. And if you don't see the tree, well, there's something wrong with your eyes. Right? Where I can look at something and I can say, look, at the end of our life, we're going to go to heaven. It's over here. You can, I've prayed about it and I can just feel it and I can see it. And look in the Bible and look at this doctor and all this stuff, and the evidence is right there in front of you. Can't you see it? And if they don't see it, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong with their eyes. It just means they're looking at the same set of data and they don't necessarily agree with you or see things the exact same way. And so as I go through this process and we're making the foam mate, and all of a sudden there was a bunch of attention and whatnot. We were just working every day, making videos. I did woodworking videos. I did all these other different types of videos completely outside of the Aircrete. And then I hit that, and the gate opened up a little bit, and I could see a little bit of shining light through the end of the gate, and I remember when I could actually see the light. Our video started going viral. Mrs. Honeydew put a little PDF up on an Etsy store for us to sell, and I came home, and her phone was just going chain, chain to chain, and I just got home from a 12-hour day of driving truck and unloading and loading, and I saw that, and I was like, holy cow, I might be able to make business out of this. And I saw the light. And I have a foundational talent when it comes to cement that is relevant for people. And when you think about that farm gate, and you think about what are your guys' talents? What do you guys want to do? And you think about that farm gate, there has to be some kind of something that you're passionate about that you have a talent for. And my talent is in the engineering world. I am all about physical things. And I mean, in my world, in the engineering world, there were terms like this, like torque, like leverage, foundation, plan, strategy, apex, fulcrum point, specific gravity, reinforcement, safety factors. You want to have a certain predictability, and you want to forecast worst case scenarios and make sure whatever you're building is going to be up there, subcontractor, contractor, and all these terms, and they are in the physical world, and the whole goal of it is to have some type of order and be able to see in advance the end result. And when I think about our journey and whatnot, it's you can see the end result, but how we got there is kind of opaque. And I was going, why me? Why us? Other people have tried. There were hundreds of people online trying to make aircrete products, yet our channel just takes off and gets 60,000 subscribers in a year and a half or whatnot. What is the secret sauce? It's so opaque and so unseen. I don't even know what it was. And so that is what this 30-day challenge will help you and is helping me figure out what the secret sauce is. Some of it had to do a little bit with our relationship, but other things had to do with the fact that I was just living in the physical world and just taking all these nuggets of thought and putting them together in a way that it actually created something out of nothing. And so I want to help you guys understand my thought process a little better, and I think this 30-day challenge is going to be big in doing that. So
It will be.
yeah, it will be.
Beaver Creek Life, good morning everyone from Louisiana. Romner, good morning from Minnesota. Paul says, good morning from Iowa. It is heartwarming to see the love in your eyes, girl.
And see, that's part of the secret sauce too, and most people don't even know that we were married for 5 years and then we were divorced. We grew apart. We didn't know the rules. We never took the time to figure out how to create some type of fundamental foundation to build a relationship on. And until we actually committed to making transformations in our life, we weren't able to get to this point. I mean, we're 11, 12 years into our second marriage.
Right.
But that's that's one of
Communication,
them.
I would say, is a big.
Right.
Terry Oak says, snow is over 2 feet deep in my yard, but it is warming up around 0 today. But next week, back to negative 25. Go Terry. Woohoo, you got some warm weather there. Luann says, Good afternoon, honeydew. Honey's from
Michigan.
Mansalona, Michigan. I always do that. I don't know why. You are entertaining me while I wait for a tow truck to pull me out of the snowbank I slid into. Sorry, Luann. We hope that no damage was done and that you're okay, okay? But we laugh because we have all been there.
Well, I
Luann.
just pulled a guy out a week or so ago out of a snowbank.
Right. Terry Oak says, hello, Luann. Hope you and your car are okay. Right, Terry? Ramona says, why you? Because you are the new with the growing and like to make the good changes for everyone. Thank you. That's very sweet.
So that is very sweet. It's I want to give my best, and you guys who have stuck with me, even though I go, yeah, I can write this book and I can write it in a month, and it's been like 2 years, but some of it's coming out. But you can see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It is all coming out. I'll go clear through a section, and then I'll get stumped. I'll be like, why are people having all these misconceptions about aircrete and how it functions and everything? And I really work hard to try and work through those and put it in a physical order so that people can understand, okay, this is something we know. This is a physical characteristic of Portland cement. And we can just take that fundamental foundation of this is what it does, and we can put little things in and tweak it and get different results from it. And so,
Scoot says, howdy all. Randy says, thank you for sharing more of your story, and hi from Indianapolis. Well, hello, Randy. Beaver Creek Farm Life says, please hit the thumbs up. Yeah, you guys give us a thumbs up, please. David Bennett says, howdy do, movie stars. From snowed in central upstate New York in the wilds of Jordanville. Wow.
Ramona Garcia says, you make me feel safe.
Aww. Wow.
You know what?
That's amazing.
That is awesome. And you know what I found through this last 7 days and I was going through, and I'm like, what? You're going to ask me to delve deep into this area of my life and think about it for 2 minutes and write down some thoughts? And I'm like, that's silly. And then I see that comment, and I see that one of the steps I've been going through this past day on this challenge is so relevant because she said, you make me feel safe. You know what? There aren't a lot of people out there that are giving people hope that, you know what, if you have an idea or you have something you want to do, that you can actually do that. And there is a step-by-step, there is a way to get it done. And that's my passion. Really, when I first had that aha moment that, oh wow, look, we struck a chord with aircrete, and there was just the gate opened just a little bit, and I could see some light. What did I really want? I wanted to give up that 12-hour-a-day truck driving job. I wanted to come home and spend more time with Melanie and be able to make a living doing it. And I really wanted my freedom. So it's like, why me? It's because that's, you guys got to understand what is your why. Because I found out through this process, the incredible process the last 7 days, that that behind every one of the questions that I get from people online, and I'm going to set up an automated system that answers like the 12 main questions that people ask about different things and whatnot, so that everybody gets a little more value from it. Oh, I just went off on a rabbit hole.
Yes.
What? I always do that. What was I talking about?
Well, you were talking about, Ramona said that you make her feel safe and you went in and talked about
yeah.
how what you've been writing down.
Yeah, behind every question that people ask me, they actually have a why. Why do they want to know that? Because they want to figure out how to build a tiny home so that they can live debt-free and this and that. Whatever their why is, it's there, And I want I would love to be the facilitator to help more people move closer to their why more quickly and understand the process of how it's done. So that's why I'm issuing this challenge today. So
Right. And Ramona, I want to let you know that your comment actually hits me at the core, because that's one of the things I've always loved about Darwin is being around him, with him, has always 100% made me feel safe in anything we've done. So I understand that, and that's a very strong thing with Darwin. DT says, thank you for this challenge. David Bennett says, better late than never.
right.
Thumbs up. Thank you, David. Scoop B says, I am the guy that blows up things. I was a porter for machines. Like I said on my door, this is where the engineer's dreams come true. DT says, I can see it paying off. Private brainstorming, sharing the nuggets, and turning them into completed projects.
You know what? I love that word nuggets. And this is why years ago when I was a crane operator for a contractor, and I was just the guy when people had a logistic problem, whatever project we had going, they would come to me because I could just think outside the box and I could think about leverage and torque and where to put pressure to get the job done. And they would come to me, and I often thought in my early 20s, eventually I'm going to get a reputation for this, and I'm going to start a company called Logistical Solutions or something, and that all these contractors from all over the state are going to come and give me calls and fly me out or do whatever to solve their problems. And that never came to fruition. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to write a book called Nuggets of Thought, because I've done so many different things in the construction and engineering and different trades, and I've been around so many different trades and seen how things get done, that I have such a wealth of knowledge to draw on, and I can show people how whatever their wealth of knowledge is, their experience, how they can draw those nuggets of thought and put them in a order to understand whether an idea is a good idea or whether you should move forward with it before spending thousands of dollars and what. And I was going to call it Nuggets of Thought. And then I started thinking about the farm gate analogy, where you have a foundation, you have this huge corner post that holds all the weight of the farm gate, and it's the foundation. And it's just pressure and the little movement at the hinge every day that has a huge effect on the end. And then I thought, you know what? You think of a grandfather clock, right? A grandfather clock has this huge pendulum in it, and it swings. And you only have to wind that thing up like once a year. And it's like, how does that work? Well, once you get a pendulum swinging, the energy is consistent. And it only takes a small amount of pressure at the very top of the pendulum to keep it going without ever slowing down and being consistent. And that's why grandfather clocks work, and they're steady and they're predictable and whatnot. And so now I'm thinking about eventually writing a book called The Pendulum Effect and adding all the elements of it. One of the chapters will be nuggets of thought and different things, and just to help people that have these ideas that they've never been able to put in an order. You know, we see things just like building a house, or everything in the physical world has order to it, right down to the smallest molecule with all the electrons and neutrons going around the nucleus. Everything has order. And it's building a business or creating something or art and whatnot is a little more opaque. It's a little more unseen. But the more things that you can take out of your experience that have a physical value or a physical element to it and put them in the right order will allow you to, bam, it's just to start see that light at the end of the tunnel or at the end of the gate just a little bit more. And so that was a cool comment. I liked nuggets
It was a
and
cool
knowledge.
comment. And just so you guys know that when this engineering and logistics and everything gets stuck, he comes to me.
Right? No, it's so true. It's so true. I how there's a couple different elements of the foam mate that were all her idea. And that's another thing that most people they don't get. It doesn't matter who or how or what. They take their own prejudices and they look at other people and they insert their prejudice on them and say they are what they are. When in all reality, I have never met another person that wasn't my better in some way, that didn't have a talent or an experience that would be of value to me if I just knew how to ask them the right questions and extract it out. And so a lot of the foundation behind this process of taking your nuggets of thought and putting them into a pendulum where you can give it a big push and get the pendulum swinging, and then after that you can just add a little bit of pressure and it'll just keep going forever. The whole system behind that um, really comes about from asking the right questions. As I go through this process and I'm starting to figure out and try and add more value and make my book way more relevant, um, as I go through that process, what I've found is I habitually over the years, as I've been inventing things or Melanie's asked me to, come up with a solution for a problem in our home or whatever, and as I think about mountains or problems or obstacles that are in front of me, I think about them different than most people do. And I ask myself a series of different questions that most people don't ask themselves before they give up. And that's why I have a million people on the web tell me you can't use Portland scene and get it to take 4,000 degrees. You can't do this. You can't do that. And and because of the questions I ask myself, and I look at the physical order of things and the things that I know about a certain elemental property of something, and I'm willing to try and fail and test it, I'm for whatever reason, it's these series of questions that I ask myself that allow me to jump over, go through, or around these obstacles that are in front. And that is my passion, guys. That is what I want to share with the world. Because I have all these people that are like retired and elder. Man, when I was in my 20s, I came up with this idea and I was going to do it and I was going to do it. And life got in the way and life got in the way and it never happened. And, I'm afraid I'm going to die and take this thing to the grave with me. Maybe you can do something with it. And I'm like, you know what? You were the one that had the experience that initiated the idea. And if you just had a simple blueprint, a series of questions that you could ask about individual elements of your project, and then you could take those brick walls or those hurdles and get through them, that's what I want. I want all of you out there to be able, I could accomplish way more letting you guys understand my mind and my way of thinking. And that is what the third is going to do for you guys. It's going to help you understand your thinking and how to start move forward. It has for me. It's been freaking incredible. All right.
DT says thank you. Scooby says, go for it, brother. I understand it. Your Aircrete vids taught me a bit. Thank you, Scooby. David says, only got 12 inches of snow, but last night, TG, 50 mile per hour winds made it white out. Whoa. Keith says, good morning from, where's it, Maine, Minnesota?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I need to learn those better. Love watching you do your experiments and following along as the information is revealed. Thank you, Keith. Luann Hoffman says, thanks, Terry. We're both okay. Oh, good. Scoop B says, my newest house is 3-story of Aircrete with some of your ideas in Davao, Philippines, that had No damage from a 6.9 earthquake.
Oh, wow.
Wow, Scott B, that is amazing, and we're glad.
See, he probably has an engineering mind
Wow.
because he understands how to put a skeleton together and where aircrete can be beneficial and whatnot, and where the support and the internal.
Wow, we're
That's
glad that there
pretty
was no
cool.
damage on your building.
Yeah.
So that's on your house. That's BL says Kansas here. Learned of aircrete theory from you. Wow, what an idea. Watch some of your vids and am convinced. That's amazing. Thank you. William Craig says it's more than hope. It's about creating the opportunity. Thumbs up. Thank you, William. That's awesome. Scoopy, I did solar stuff for years, and maybe one day I would like you. I would be like you. Scoopy, click on the link after this video is done and start.
Yeah. The link will be up probably within an hour after we get off here. But it'll take you to what's called the Better Life Challenge. All it is a journaling challenge, guy, and it's a series of questions to help, just things that you can think about 2 minutes a day, every day, over the course of a month, and it'll end up being mind-blowing for you.
And Scoopy, we believe in you.
Yeah.
Seek to Find says, I have some ideas to combine aircrete with a new building system from Poland. It is totally DIY based, so I think it would make a perfect marriage with aircrete. That sounds awesome. Seek to Find. Paul says, does this all really stand or fall on, and what is your purpose?
Does this all really stand or fall on what is your purpose? No, it stands in the physical world. It is real. It is absolutely real. I mean, there is a real shop behind my grandparents' house that my grandparents use every day. And it is made of aircrete. And it doesn't stand on what is my purpose. Whatever it is for you, whatever your purpose is, you got to understand, guys, and that's another thing. When people start about purposes, it has nothing to do with purpose. It stands because of the physical world. It gets done because of your purpose. What was it that I was saying last week? No harbor is the right one if you don't know what harbor you're aiming at.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go through a series of asking yourself a series of questions and figure out what your purpose is, what you really truly want to accomplish, and then you have another series of questions you can ask yourself that allow you each day to take just 1 or 2 steps to move that forward. Over time, it's going to compound, and you're going to, eventually that gate's going to start to open, and you're going to see the light, and then you can just set your pendulum up and you can give it a good big push. That, for us, was the transition, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were only making $12 a month on the side outside of my truck driving job. And it's hard to make that leap of faith and that jump and say, you know what? We're going to give that pendulum and we're going to push as hard as we can. We're going to stay up until 4 in the morning every day. We're going to put out a video every day while we build this aircrete. That pace that we first set when we started doing that was sustainable for a long period of time.
Right.
But it gave us a push. We were able to get the pendulum swinging, and then all you do is just a little slight easy pressure from then on out, and there you go. And so that transition, I know is hard, but it's one that a lot of people out there have a desire to make, and they have their options in their life. They have the things that they know they would like to do. They kind of know what their purpose is, but they're afraid to tell people because it's a hard thing to go out and tell people what your dreams are and your hopes are, because if you don't have a plan or a blueprint or a way to actually achieve it, man,
DFW Michael says, morning. We have officially paid off our property. Now I can focus on finishing our dome home. Congratulations, that is awesome. We're excited for you. Scoopy says, when I was young in the 80s, that I put in insulation around my house 2 feet deep and 2 feet sideways. But it is the math says that it is the same as 4 feet deep. Wow. Scoopy says, cut my bill by 30%. That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
David says, good afternoon, Mr. Carpenter. How are you?
I am awesome.
And thank you, David. Hope you are doing well too. David says, I follow him and watch all of his videos. I am Venezuelan, and I have always wanted to make a good mix, but I have not been able to date.
And see, that's what I was talking about earlier. That's a very good statement and a very good question. Because if you don't have a foundational, fundamental understanding of the 5 basic characteristics of how Portland cement behaves and what environmental conditions around it, whether it be the temperature, the humidity, or whatever, make it behave that way, then you're really have a hard time understanding or trying to is causing you from being able to have success. It could be your water is really acidic and it has a pH level that is more on the higher acidic side. That would cause your Portland cement to not work as well. I mean, there's a myriad of things, and there are things that you can do to eliminate those things to make your water neutral before you add it and whatnot. But if you don't understand the main characteristics of how Portland cement have a fundamental foundation, and that is my fault, guys. That is what I've realized, that as I go through the questions and see what they are, that I've been failing at. I've been failing at getting people to understand that foundation and how I knew to add a little lime or some perlite or whatever and why I knew to add it that way and what it actually did. And people aren't understanding that, and that's my fault. And so what I need to do is I need to make a series of just free videos that, click here if you want to understand this, the 5 basic fundamental things that Portland cement do and how to make a good mix that's aerated or how to.
And that really might help David out some, because he says in the next comment that in Venezuela he has many problems getting the materials and they're hard to come by. So if he can learn through that process, maybe he can eliminate something that he
or
really
maybe
needs.
he can substitute one material
Yeah.
for another one,
Yeah. So Randy says much of Jesus' teaching was in questions. David Bennett says, Darwin, those questions reveal your facility with critical thinking. These days, that intellectually is a rarity. Thank you, David.
I like that. Because that's what we focus on. We homeschool our children, and we have a 15-year-old daughter, and I want her to be able to think through problems more than be able to take a test and solve a specific problem over and over and over. Because that's the rut we get into, right? Oh, we need you to do this job, and we need you to make a career out of it. And then life feels unfulfilled because everyone do the same thing, and you feel like you're on a treadmill. And whereas if you just had the skill of critical thinking and you could figure out through a series of asking yourself questions what your true passion is and the true direction you really want to take your life, and then you had a blueprint or some steps that you could follow to make that happen, then that would be incredible. And so that's what we're trying to teach our children and teach our daughter, and the results have kind of been incredible. The confidence that we that we never saw ourselves when we were like 14, 15 years old is incredible.
Seek to Find says that the breast is skipping and halting a little bit for them. I hope it gets better.
Well,
David says, now I am in Peru. If you would like to help me finish how to make a good mix. David, send us an email to honeydewcarpenter1 with Gmail and let us explain some of the problems and stuff that you're having, and
Right.
we'll see what we can do.
What I want to do is, because he's not the only one, there are thousands out there with the same issue. Some are having great success, and some aren't. And their inability to determine what factor in the mix that it is that's causing it is because the lack of understanding of the fundamental foundation of the physical properties of Portland cement and how it behaves under certain conditions. And so what I really need to do is put out somewhere where you can just click on and go and watch a specific video that'll help you come up with ideas. If you're having this problem, then try this. If you're having this problem, then try this. Maybe just it's as simple as you need to put a little bit of baking soda in the water you're adding into your aircrete mix just to neutralize the acidic state of your water. You know, it might just be something that simple.
Right. Scoop B says, hey, like I tell kids today, learn to blow things up, but stay safe. You are an American, not an Americant. American can't.
Right.
Right? That's awesome. I like that saying, Scoopy. That's awesome. Keith Arnold says, I have seen a couple of those instances in your videos where your wife made a suggestion that made the process better. Just that different perspective is invaluable. Love that you listen to. Aw,
See?
thank you, Keith. I love that you listen to.
Yeah. I couldn't do any of this if it hadn't been for Melanie. Honestly, I was working 12 hours a day as a truck driver, and Melanie, she set up the website, she set up the YouTube channel, she set up the store, she outlined my book, she outlines all the PDFs that go on it, and that guy, I didn't know how to do it, and I was busy on the treadmill trying to make a living just to keep our head above water, and so I love you.
Oh, thank you, honey. And Keith, thank you for that nice comment. David left his email, it looks like. That's cool. Kenneth says, love your videos. Kenneth from Africa. Wow, that's so
Nigeria.
awesome. Thank you. Thank you for watching. DT says, I'm anxious to take that leap.
Well, cool.
That is awesome. I'm believing this journaling will take it to the next stage. We do too, DT.
Yeah, we
honestly
absolutely do.
Drawing for all says, very nice work. Scoopy says, sad part is India is kicking our butt in aircrete. They have aircrete factories making blocks for construction and dozens of companies selling machine made. Oh.
Yeah. India, huge market for it. But in the factories, the way they do it, the ACA blocks and stuff that they're doing that are lightweight, it is a expensive, complicated process. I mean, when they're cured, they have to be in a chamber, a pressurized chamber at a certain humidity for a certain amount of time. And so it ends up being actually quite expensive to buy those blocks and whatnot. And my talent is taking complicated piece of equipment like these foam generating machines that have all these dials and high pressure switches and high pressure pumps and all these moving parts, and just looking at it and taking each element of that and saying, is it absolutely necessary? And if it wasn't there, what would happen? And how can I get around that? And is it absolutely needed? And there's actually, I call it the 7x7 questioning. So there's like 49 questions in all. But it can save you guys a lot of time, effort, and energy if you have an idea and you're having an obstacle with an element of an invention or something. You can go through this 7x7 process that I kind of put together, and you can ask the questions, and you can determine whether or not you can keep, get rid of, modify, or do something different there to simplify something and take it down to its most basic, elemental, simple way of doing things. And that's kind of the process, thought-wise, that I went through, and I haven't refined it all yet. I have a lot of the steps down. But, I took a really complicated machine that cost thousands of dollars and got rid of all the high-pressure pumps and the hydraulics and everything else, and took it down to just some back pressure created with some stainless steel wool, a couple of valves, and that was basically it. I took and make foam that's really high quality foam in its most simplified form.
Right. So we have a person on there that I don't know how to say their name or what they said, but I'm going to guess they said hello. See, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't get that language either. But.
So Kyliana Arnold said, "Hey, Daddy."
Oh.
She's watching. Must have liked your comment of how strong she. What's that word?
Confident.
Confident. Thank you. Dan Williams says, "Aw." David says, "This spring I'll be coating the inside face of the pyramid foundation with gunite. I haven't shot gunite since the early 80s. Should be fun."
Yeah, that should be.
It was built in 1890. Wow, yeah. Seek to Find says, "You guys are a great team of inventors." Thank you, Seek to Find.
Okay, we've been going almost an hour.
Yep.
And I love you guys. I can't wait to see you next week. And like I said, I'm on the last little bit, the aircrete in and whatnot on the book, and so that should be out soon. I know I keep saying that, but I run into these stumps, and I can't just put it out halfway. I gotta deliver the value, and so that's my goal.
You guys
you
have a
guys.
great day, and we'll talk to you later.